I've been exchanging emails with, should I tell them, Mr. Producer? I think I should. With Glenn Beck, who has reached out to me and who will be coming on this program, if not in the next few days, the next few weeks, to talk about his book and a number of other issues. I've concluded, and he's concluded, that there's just too much at stake now. The country's in such dire straits that we all have to come together on this. And at least in our email exchanges, he's indicated to me that he's become a supporter of what I've written in my book, the Liberty Amendments. And he's not the only one. Rush is, and Sean Hannity is, a lot of people are. My buddy Andy McCarthy, David Limbaugh, and I go down the list. Conservatives who would have thought this, too outside the box have now said, no, we need a constitutional way back. We need some recourse. And it won't be easy. It may never happen. But things are percolating out there. On December 7th, this Saturday, at Mount Vernon, George Washington's home, I believe it's in the new library there, or thereabouts, state representatives and state senators from 30 different states will be attending an assembly, the Mount Vernon Assembly, the first of its kind in the modern time, to discuss the state convention process. Not to vote on anything, but to discuss the process. And this is important. And it's not just happening there. It's happening in state legislatures. We've got a long way to go. We haven't even really, as a nation, focused on this or provided resources for this. But I've said before, and I'll say it again, if we can't use the state legislatures as the framers intended under Article 5 to prevent this oppression, to reestablish our constitutional system, then it's over, because there really is no other way. Fundamentally, there's no other way. We can have a respite. There can be short periods of time, like when Reagan was president for 8 years, which was magnificent, or another conservative president, but the problem is the trajectory. And when you're unmoored from the Constitution, it's not enough to have the presidency. The bureaucracy's running amok, Congress is running amok, the courts are running amok. There has to be a way to address this, and that's the whole point of the Liberty Amendments. Glenn Beck, when is Glenn Beck on? Tomorrow? Glenn Beck will be on a guest on this program tomorrow to talk about his book and some other things. I believe he's endorsed this process now, as a matter of fact. He asked me a question, something like, well, what if the state legislatures, what if we can't get enough state legislatures to do this? And I told him, then it's over. Then there's no way out. That's the only, I should say, civil, lawful, constitutional way out of this. There is no other way. And then I would ask some of my conservative friends, not many, who attack this process. You like to talk about federalism all the time. Power to the states, power to the state legislatures. Do you really mean it? Do you trust the state legislatures as an aggregate? I know California, I know Illinois, I get it. You're in these dark blue states, Maryland and so forth. But I'm talking about nationwide, the state legislatures as a whole. Or don't you? Because if you don't, then how conservative really are you? Because this is the construct of the Constitution, federalism under the 10th Amendment, undergirded by the 9th Amendment. Article 5, and the second process for amending, the escape valve that the framers provided us with. I didn't invent this. To hear some host go, oh, this is an idiotic idea, is that host condemning the framers of the Constitution. It's that host, or not just host, whomever it is, condemning what Madison and Washington and Franklin and Hamilton and Mason and all the rest of them did at the Constitutional Convention. Now, it's one thing for the left to tell us to turn away, and accept what they have coming for us. But it's quite another thing when so-called conservatives do it. And if they have another way out, I want to hear it. I want to know that it's in the Constitution, and I want to see it, because they don't. And most of you are like me. I will not surrender to this. If you have children and you have grandchildren, how can you? Don't let it be said of our generation that we accepted tyranny, not just for ourselves, for every future generation. Don't let that be said of us, because it will be. It absolutely will be. And they'll be right. They'll be writing about us the way that they wrote about and write about the Roman Empire. No, we're not the Roman Empire, but you get my point. And I hate to tell you this, folks, the Roman Empire lasted for a fairly significant period of time. We've only been around for a little over 200 years.